Jesus. Okay, hold on. You have to see this. This was like the best thing ever. All right. Let me add the full screen region. So this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to throw them together. I was going to put names on them. And so I go to actually type the name in, and I'm like, okay, Bargo. Size 300 font. Yeah, let's not work with that one here. Alright, hey, do you mind, like, going somewhere? Can I click out of this? Like, what is it doing? Okay, thank you. No, I don't want the freaking Triforce font. Just Arial or something is quite alright. You gotta leave the capital A. Okay, there we go. There's Bargo. Can I please center you? Okay. Here's had. Oh, gotta make that noise again. Best noise. 10 out of 10. 4 stars. Alright, so here we go. Where I'm actually looking at the original form itself, with all of its dead links and missing avatars, and... Who the hell just sent me a file? Whatever, I'm not looking at it. Okay. So, Bargo the Bikdip's returns. It ended. That tags none. That's right, Bargo is back and better than ever. That lovable character and his friends are on another crazy adventure, so join Bargo and the companions on their journeys to victory. Chapter 1. Bargo fell asleep as the unnamed SC world slipped over the horizon. It had been a year since his rocket landed on the Red Planet. One particularly interesting trait of Bargo's is... I wasn't going to point out stuff like this, but I love how the first... No, like third sentence... He isn't a Bargo, he's a Bikdip. Like, what the hell? Okay, anyway. One particularly interesting trait of Bargo's is that they can survive on Mars. Imagine that. When Bargo awoke to another half-eclipse, he stretched and wondered if he would ever see his old partners again. They were probably off battling somewhere, not remembering long-forgotten Bargo. He got up and picked up his stick and began his morning scavenger walk. On it, he found a weird-shaped rock, a dehydrated pea, a piece of painted glass, and then he saw something moving in the distance. He rolled his fastest to it and found out it was a WTF was it? But then it opened and smoke rolled out. Bargo wasn't too afraid. Some of the Martians he had met were pretty nasty. But then something came slowly moving out of it. It was large, it had 2 legs, 2 arms, and a shiny face. Or was that a helmet? What Bargo really wondered to know was why he was moving so slowly. The man saw Bargo, recoiled a little, and then pulled out a little black device. As Bargo looked at it, it almost blinded him with a flash of light. Then the man put it away. He pulled out another small device, which had a long barrel and what looked like a trigger. Then the man approached Bargo slowly and cautiously, always pointing the gun at his middle eye. Then he shot the gun when he was close enough. A net closed around Bargo, and he couldn't get free. The net was reeled in and attached to his suit. Then he got back in the huge object that he had got out of. After closing the door and repressurizing the room, he took off his helmet and then his suit. This man appeared to be a specimen of one of SC World's moons, Earth. What the fuck? He could tell because he had seen a picture in a book. Amazing. The human, as they were called, looked at Bargo, then walked away. Bargo got out of the annoying net and explored a little. Then he found a small door, went through it, and found it eventually led outside of the machine. He waved an imaginary hand to it as it blasted off. Then he went back to his camp with the new items he found. The piece of glass and the device he took while escaping from the space machine would be enough to repair his rocket. He installed them, tested the engine, found it worked, and gathered his belongings. He took a final long look at the only home he had had for the past year. He was a little sad to go, but he knew it was for the better. He started up the engines, counted down, and blasted off back towards SC World and Carto. Meanwhile, the companions paid for the stay the old man had provided them, and continued on. Now they were sighted on bigger things, mainly the Elite Five. Most companions at the moment were thinking about poor Bargo, hoping he were there to join them. So already I've got problems with this, because I'm pretty sure there were humans in the original story. But whatever, I don't even know. Remove this ad. Okay. Chapter 2. Just for those who don't remember, not like anyone read the first one anyway, the team was Bargo, who left, Had, Yukronsky, Junspinar, Small Woodland Creature, who died, Pokemaster Ian, Captain Pringle, and Schmugenhugen. The team of 6 was ready to confront the Elite 5. Before they could get there, they had to pass many gates and junk and show all their badges from the cities they traveled to. After that, there was a menacing-looking cave. They were supposed to get through it, but as they entered, a bunch of blues attacked. Somehow they just went... Oh, okay, hold on. Somehow they just went over the whole cave. There was a little store place. They all got healed and bought some pick-me-ups, Caro Colas, Max Mushrooms, and Able Juices. As they were about to challenge the first E5 member, there was a loud rumbling, followed by a crash and a Ramalama Ding-Dong Hoo-Hoo-Hoo. A big-ass spaceship crashed through the ceiling, which hurt many innocent bystanders. Out came a dark, shadowy figure. It was 10 feet tall, had tentacles, and... No, wait, it's just Bargo. "Hi," says he. All 6 other members replied with a "Good afternoon, Officer Cheese Whip," at exactly the same time, then jumped, did a flip, and said, "Oh, hi, Bargo." Bargo rolled on over, and they had a reunion thing. Reunion thing. They had beers, shared porno stories, and discussed about the government. Captain Pringle got out of... Okay, hold on. Captain Pringle got out a big old gun and shot a bear that just... What the fuck is this? I don't know why I'm laughing so hard. Okay, let me try that again. Captain Pringle got out a big old gun and shot a bear that just happened to walk in at the moment. They ate it raw, had a farting contest, and then fell asleep. The next night, they finally woke up and decided it was time to challenge the E5. Like, what the hell was that manly party they had? That was the stupidest thing. Okay. Good old Bargo, Chapter 3. The Comapnians proudfully entered through the giant double doors, but all they found was some more garbage, a few weak loaves pitifully lying around, and a piece of cheese. After 5 more rooms of this kind of crap, they found themselves in a completely white room, or at least they guessed it was a room, because everything was the exact same color. Except, of course, the Gen Brang in the center that said, "I'll pop a cop because he left my props in Oaktown." And then Tissa reappeared with a large pop. He appeared to have been standing on a completely black trapdoor, or at least it looked like a trapdoor. Had tried to lift it up, but found that it was actually just a dark pit. With the moving to open the door, he overcalculated and fell in. Luckily, it was Had that fell in, because he lit the whole thing up. It appeared to be a narrow pipe that went straight down for a while, then Had disappeared around some corner. Bargo cried, Had, and jumped in after him. After all the companions yelled the last SC's name and then jumped in, they were all traveling at an alarming rate down this pipe. After, say, a week, they all fell in a heap as they fell one by one out of the pipe and down the 100-foot drop. After a crayon apiece, they were ready. I don't know why I'm laughing so hard at this. After a crayon apiece, they were ready to battle. Out of the little pool in front of them came a frog. Then it shouted, "Bug-goo-boo-oh/comma," and turned into a little old lady. She sputed the same thing and threw out an SC cube. It produced a Sugen Haas, so the companions chose Bargo. Chapter 4. Bargo got a lot of training while traveling to different planets and stuff, so they were all confident it could take Sugen Haas down. It started off by firing a triple I-beam, which Sugen Haas ate, then puked back up and shot out an I-beam. Bargo, remembering the similar situation at the 4th gym battle, decided to jump over the beams and fire another one at Sugen Haas's giant eye. It deflated like a balloon, but Sugen Haas stuck its hand in its mouth, blew hard, and it somehow inflated again. While it did this, Bargo dropped flat on the floor and shot around like a hockey puck around the perimeter of the pool. He went so fast he eventually could slide over it. He shot straight towards Sugen Haas, but it jumped on Bargo and they both slammed into a wall. While it was stunned, Bargo got up and used the eat/crap combo, which was very powerful. While it was stunned from the last attack, Bargo used it to his advantage again, and fired off a charged triple I-beam. One hit its big eye, on hit the small eye, and another hit its face dead center. Sugen Haas was so damaged it could barely move. Using all its strength, it somehow blew up its shell and revealed a robotic figure. Green crap was oozing out of it. Bargo was too surprised by this to really do anything. The robot started lighting up and released a bunch of shockwaves around it. The ceiling opened up and a bright light shone down on the pool. It drained, leaving a 5-foot deep circular hole in the floor. Finally, it crossed its arms, said "Falcon Punch," and exploded, which left a burn mark on the floor and filled the pit with assorted metal parts. A scoreboard dropped down with 5 squares on both sides. The home side had 1 dim out, while the challenger side was unchanged. It was just now they realized it would be a 5-on-5 battle, which was longer than they expected. The old lady turned back into a frog and spit out another SC cube into the pit. As Bargo jumped in, a Schmogenhagen-Das came out. Oh no, it's Schmogenhagen-Das, that's the ice cream one. A Schmogenhagen-Das came out, and the lid opened, revealing a Schmagenhagen. Who would join Bargo in the team battle? Find out next time after those messages. Chapter 5. And we're back. A Schmagenhagen has joined Schmogenhagen-Das for the team battle, and Bargo is currently chossing a partner. Bargo decided on Captain Pringle. Captain Pringle was left for Schmagenhagen as Bargo took on the ice cream. Schmagenhagen tried to eat CP, but CP beat him. Okay. CP then happily chewed, swallowed, digested, and shitted out Schmagenhagen, there paralyzing him from the neck down. Bargo was having less success. The lid hovered off the cup, spun very quickly, and flew at Bargo. Bargo dodged just in time, but the lid wasn't done. It kept flying back at Bargo like a homing boomerang. After Bargo had 42 bruises, 30 cuts, 15 stitches, 5 scars, and had lost 10 teeth, the lid landed back on the cup. Some of the damage had been dealt, spelled wrong, by the cup mostly jumping on poor Bargo. As a final finishing move, the lid popped up, the ice cream began to flow out, and CP was wailing on Schmagenhagen. Defenseless Schmag was lying there in pain, but after about half the damage Bargo had taken, his paralysis was gone. The fuck? I don't even know what that means. CP didn't know this, and Schmag waited a little. Then he jumped at CP and puked on his face. As CP was wallowing in self-disgust, Schmag tried to recover when Schmag wasn't looking. When Schmag wasn't looking, CP wiped the crap off his face and used a Spherus Slam from behind, finishing Schmagenhagen. But as CP looked over, he saw Schmogenhagen-Das preparing for a huge move. Ice cream was swirling out of the cup and glowing a bright black. CP rolled as fast as he could and pushed Bargo out of the way just before the horrid glowing cream drilled a gaping, smoking hole in the ground. The maddened Schmogenhagen-Das picked up some robot parts and chucked them at CP, killing him. Bargo leaped at Schmogen and headbutted him, killing him. There's a lot of death in this. The scoreboard came down and 2 light went out on the frog's side and 1 went out on the companion's side. Bargo went and ate some crap to heal him as the next SC emerged from the cube. It was a doofpo. Ugh. Okay, this is a great signature. We've got random unnecessary banner scrolling by, horribly stretched image, just some kind of personality test thing. Come visit my website. Okay, we gotta see what this is. Hold on. Oh, it was Geospace. What the? Okay. Make sure you check out my new Shagadelic. Oh yeah, I forgot. He did have a Austin Powers message board for some reason. I forgot about that. Here's Captain Pringle actually responding. He was the webmaster of the message board, for those who don't know. Anyway. Note number 1. Certain characters in the story, Ace, Denza, CP, Ian, are either based off the corresponding character from the official UBCS comic or various other things, but please do not be offended by them. Example, the reason Ian is gay is because he is in the comic. Also, CP is based off his old personal pic, the big smiley face, and the others are just the ones from the comic. Note number 2, just information to GL. Caro Colas heal the entire party fully, pick-me-ups revive characters, enable juices, get rid of any side effects. Note number 3, this was intended to be a #Gin related battle. Doofpo can be in the next round. Now on to the chapter. Chapter 6. The Doofpo magically turned into a Schmagenhagen. Bargo, although healed, was very tired from battling and was taken back. Replacing him was Jun Spinar. The whole room somehow turned into a weird LCD screen. On one side was Jun Spinar, seed from behind, and Schmagenhagen was on the other side. Little meters were beside them, measuring their health. A text box was on the bottom. God, this is going to be fun to frickin' read here. Junspinar used Bosberry Bomb. Schmegenhagen used Withdraw. Junspinar used Quick Spin. Junspinar's attack missed. Schmegenhagen used Water Shot. Junspinar used Bosberry Bomb. Schmegenhagen used I-Beam. Junspinar is paralyzed, it may not attack. Junspinar is fully paralyzed. Schmegenhagen used Shell Attack. Trainer used a Able Juice. Junspinar is paralyzed no more. Schmegenhagen used Water Shot. Annoying beeping starts. Junspinar used Bosberry Bomb. Schmegenhagen used Big Bite. Junspinar used Counter. Schmegenhagen fainted. Junspinar gained 415 experience points. Junspinar grew to level 78. Junspinar gained 129 magic points. 42 tenderness points, 87 happiness points, 12 happy smile points, 4 love points, negative 72,437 monkey points. Junspinar grew to level negative 20 million, I'm guessing that is. Junspinar gained 1 point. Junspinar grew to level 78 again. Then the stupid screen melted and the scoreboard came down. Frog's side now only had 1 SC left. The other side had 4 left. CP was down, Junspinar was very hurt, and Bargo was still tired. Frog person thing sent out... Oh, okay. It's not displaying the character, but this is supposed to be the, like, the OE combo one. Like, let me look at the image here. It's, Can we zoom, please? Hold on. It's this one. Schmogenhogen is how that's pronounced, I think. And there's the ice cream. Anyway, sent out Schmogenhogen, the rarest, most powerful, and most retarded of all forms. Who will battle it? Chapter 7. To battle Schmogenhogen was chosen good ol' Yukronsky. He flew above the stage and swooped down at Schmogenhogen, but right before he should have hit, Schmogenhogen disappeared. Yukronsky almost smashed into the ground and instead made a crash landing. How is that any different? Schmogenhogen fired a uber super ultra mega platinum septuple I-beam laser shot, draining all but one of Yukronsky's life points and making Schmogenhogen inactive for 2 more turns. Yukronsky had to drink 42 able juices until he was even able to fight. I have to point out here, in the previous chapter I was trying to explain that able juices only cure status. He didn't pick up on that. Anyway, it had taken a whole turn, though, so Yukronsky used his biggest move, Beak Bomb, before Schmogenhogen was back up and kicked Yukronsky once, and Yukronsky died. The scoreboard put out another light on the companion side, so they sent out Ian next. One look at Ian with no clothes on, and he fainted. This let Ian eventually wipe out Schmogenhogen and win the whole battle. They got their token for winning and used a Caro Cola. Then they went through the little grubby trapdoor to the side into a brightly lit and airy chamber with a happy little man prancing around. Inside, he joyously said his name was Pete and he was the next challenger. Then he sent out a doofpo. Oh, it's supposed to be like, ah. Okay, well, whatever. I've always pronounced it Schmogenhogen. Which is stupid because if you look at all these, there's actually some repeating because this one is also Schmogenhogen. It's a, e, o, a, u, I, oo, o again, aha, and then there's just Sugenhaas, and then there's Schmogenhagen das. But yeah, whatever. Okay. Chapter 8. Battling the Doofpo was Schmogenhogen. You'd think we would be sick of the similar SCs everywhere, but at least I'm not. Doofpo flew in the air and recklessly wobbled and shook all over. It didn't appear to do anything useful, so Schmogenhogen charged up an I-beam and blasted it, but it reflected it, and it shot toward Schmogenhogen. Schmogenhogen shot a very weak I-beam at it to try and knock it away, but instead they intercepted and created clones of them both. Doofpo 1 and Doofpo 2 both connected and puked all over the field for some reason. S1 and S2 took off their shells, shot I-beams in them, which filled them up and threw them both at Doofpo 2. The I-beams flew out and hit Doofpo 2, the shells hit it, and then the shells came back. Doofpo 2 was weakened very badly, so they both shot a water shot at it, and the combined attacks finished it off. S2 also disappeared completely. Now it was a one-on-one again. I'm so glad we had that diversion there. Schmugenhugen charged up an I-beam and blasted it, but Doofpo reflected it and was shot toward Schmugenhugen again. Repeating history, the exact same thing happened, but this time they threw the shells at Doofpo 1 and shot water at it. It fainted it and Doofpo 2 disappeared, but Schmugenhugen 2 stayed. Oh, hold on. Get the fuck away. I accidentally hit enter. I guess it was still on the link. Alright, Doofpo 2 disappeared, but S2 stayed. Pete's side lost one SC. Bargo said he found a long O vowel stone on Mars, so they touched S2 with it, and it changed into a long O Schmogenhogen. Am I going to have to change that then? I don't remember him changing. Alright, hold on. This is going to take a minute. We'll be right back after these messages. We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. If full commitment's what I'm thinking of, you wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. That's actually all I know of that song. Oh, fucking hell. We're still on the giant 300 size Triforce font. Are you kidding me? Alright. Let's see if we're back here. Let me get rid of you. There we go. Okay. Update has been recorded. Anyway, back to our regular programming here. So yeah, changed into a long O Schmogenhogen. Pete sent out a Travis the Infected Lawn Gnome, and the newly spawned Schmogenhogen decided to fight it. Right. Chapter 9. Titilg used an infected kick, which hurt Schmog and poisoned him. Schmog then froze Titilg in time with his special time freezer move. This let him drink some able juices and eat some lunch, chat with friends. Oh yeah, the battle. He fired up his best attack, which took 20 turns to load. Right as it was ready, the time came back and Schmog fired his blast. It of course wiped out Titilg immediately. As one of Pete's lights went out, he sent out Sien Fek Fek. Alert, new SC. Sien reared up and ate Schmog with one gulp. Just as the scoreboard was coming down, all time froze. Schmog had used his second and last time freezer. He eye-lasered a hole in Sien, but then Sien recovered right after that. He poked Schmog with a poisonous fang, but Schmog couldn't cure this because everything else was still frozen in time. Sien Fek Fek hammered down on Schmog as he felt the burning pain of poison. He got one good eye beam out before he died. A light went out on the companions' side. The companions decided on an Ian for this one. Chapter 10. Ian did the happy dance, which confused Sien Fek Fek. Sien Fek Fek was suddenly overcome with joy. A record started playing out of Ian's butt. Do I really have to read this? I'm not going to read the chorus, but I'll go ahead and read the other parts, because I do think this song is stupid enough to be read out. Hey there, boys and girls. This is your old pal, Stinky Whizzlecheeks. This is a song about a plane. No! This is a song about being happy. That's right. It's the Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy song. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. Repeat, 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 repeat. I don't think you're happy enough. That's right. I'll teach you to be happy. I'll teach your grandmother to suck eggs. Now, boys and girls, let's try again. Repeat, 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 repeat. Well, if you ain't the granddaddy of all liars. Oh, the little critters of nature. They don't even know they're ugly. That's very funny, a fly marrying a bumblebee. I told you I'd shoot, but you didn't believe me. Why didn't you believe me? Repeat, 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 repeat. After all this, Ian Feck was very happy and joyful. It actually killed itself in order to be nice to Ian. Another light went out on Pete's side. Ian equals certain death. Chapter 11. Pete was getting angry. He had lost 3 of his 4 SCs, so he took drastic measures and sent out PM Ian. This is going to get interesting. Immediately, they both started commenting on each other's clothes and such. Then they took off all their clothes and hopped in a mud bath. Some SCs who hadn't looked away quick enough had to drink at least 5 able juices before they were cured. But then the PMIs got angry and started screeching things like, "You bastard, you touched me," and it all eventually, of course, ended in a bitch slap fight. "You got some mud in my eye, you whore." It ended in them both rolling around in the mud, screaming until they both drowned in the mud. A light went out on both sides, but all the lights had then gone out on Pete's side. He sadly gave them their token and showed them to the large round door at the back of the room. It led into a chamber with padded walls. Even the door that locked behind them had padding on it. Huddled in a corner, wearing a straitjacket, was the famous mentally insane Phil of the Elite 5. A SC cube just fell out of him, and out came a demented-looking eater bow. Little sparks kept coming off of it. The Kamapnians thought this was a joke or something, so they sent out Schmugenhugen. I guess he changed back, I don't know. Whatever, who cares? They sent out Schmugenhugen to go fight it. Almost immediately, Eaterbow exploded in a blast of energy, wiping out Schmugenhugen. As the companions gaped at the scoreboard that came down and showed one of their 2 lights go out, mentally insane Phil began to have a seizure. The Kamapnians just had to choose their very... The Kamapnians had to choose their only SC very carefully, or it was all over. When you say you're getting 2 repeated lines of text, what do you mean? Like, is the stream showing up weird? Anyone else having issues? Alright. Oh god, I remember this part. Okay. Deciding that playing defensively would be the best choice, they sent out Yakronsky, who immediately flew straight up. The Eaterbow exploded and it missed Yakronsky. It tried to float up, but the elephants biting it made things difficult, so it couldn't. Yakronsky fired down a bunch of snow beams, and it died immediately. Mentally insane Phil puked up another SC cube. Out came another SC cube. Out of that one came a Technoli. It started walking around on its 8 legs and firing Originacanovik beams everywhere, which melted the ceiling and made dancing chippy monks, yay, appear all over. Yakronsky suddenly threw a pick-me-up to Schmugenhugen, and Schmugenhugen somehow drank it and was revived. Yakronsky then froze, sucked into itself, and died for no reason. The other light went out. Even though the battle was over, mentally insane Phil didn't know. Schmugenhugen shot an eye blast thing at Technoli, which shot Originacanovik beam, straight at the beam. They bounced off each other. The eye blast thing hit Schmugenhugen, the Originacanovik hit Technoli, which killed it, and the turbo hand blasters hit Kimberly, the pink Power Ranger. Mentally insane Phil ate some of the chippy monks, yay, and died of chippy monk, yay, poisoning. Yakronsky came back somehow, and then they went on the battle. The 4th member of the Elite 5, Mini-Me, put Pinky in mouth. Excellent. All right. Chapter 13. Let me get a drink, actually. All right. Mini-Me sent out Zeke H. Bomb first. To fight it, the companions wisely chose Schmugenhugen. Why? Why do they keep using this thing? Also, why did it change back? I'm getting pissed off by this. Anyway. Zeke H. Bomb used Zeke Boogie-Doog, and they of course both died. One of Mini-Me's 4 lights went out, while one of the companions' 3 went out. Next, Mini-Me sent out To fight it, they chose Bargo. He rolled up to the battle, ready for anything. Leaped on Bargo's. Well, he is a head, so he just leaped on Bargo. Bargo tried rolling around, but as heavy tail prevented him of really going anywhere. Bargo was slowly losing air. When his vision began to blur, jumped off of him and landed. As soon as he did this, he spun around and smashed Bargo full force with the solid titanium lead tail. Bargo went flying, dead, out of the ring. This caused to somehow evolve into Parafoncula Functionation Estimator Lange of Hanahas, and another light to go out on the companion side. They chose Had. He simply squashed the 2D thing, and one of Mini-Me's lights went out, so he then sent out Schmicke. It fell on Had, and he tried to get up, but couldn't. He had to burn a hole in it and slip out, and the ordeal almost caused his flame to go out. He then started to eat bits off of it until it peeled itself back off the ground and flew into the air, hovering. What the fuck is going on? I don't even know. Alright, it span faster and faster until it started to stretch out, and then it flew at Had. But with the deformities on it, the wind caught it and made it fly a completely different way, eventually demolishing a cardboard Sugenhaas that happened to walk in at that moment, so thus it transformed into the flying purplish thing, Schmihik-Hishmeh. It actually flew well for not being symmetrical at all, but as it flew at Had and he ducked, the fire from his neck burned one of Schmihik-Hishmeh's wings. It crashed into the ground, and as Had was about to deliver the final blow, the thing on his head shot a clear/rainbow-colored beam at Had and turned him into a chipmunk, but unfortunately this couldn't be fixed until later. Luckily, Schmihik-Hishmeh just died. Another light went out on Mini-Me's side, and he needed to use drastic measures, so he sent out... I'm sad that Parafoncula Functionation Estimator Lange of Hanahas didn't get to be in more of the battle. Anyway, sent out 26 Alphabetinos at once. This counted as one SC, but all 26 needed to die to make him lose a light. Had drank an able juice to lose the chipmunk side effect. Besides this, it was pretty much unharmed. Had's flame was still sort of low, so it couldn't really do any serious damage. The Alphabetinos swarmed around in a circle and started running into walls and stuff. They arranged themselves into a big ball thing, like the Unknown Trophy and SSBM, and each shot out an extremely weak polka-dotted beam. 12 of them hit Had, 3 hit the wall, and 11 hit other Alphabetinos. However, they had very little stamina, so the ones that were hit were already 1/4 dead. They were very weak, however, and Had felt like it was bitten by a small swarm of mosquitoes. It put its head on its shoulders and jumped around a bit and did some crappy kung fu moves on them. Surprisingly, Svez and Egg, which were hit earlier, died. It did some more kung fu, and then Lala, Irg, Blaz, and Snaze dropped like lead weights. That was 6 down, 20 left. They all shot out some more crappy beams. 10 hit Had, and 10 hit other Alphabetinos. Spo went down. Had launched itself into the crowd and spun like a drill. It took out Kays and Haas in the process. Now there were 17 left. This is engaging goddamn writing here. Had's fire was starting to come back. It shot out what was left of it and took out Bo, Noke, and Patapat. The remaining 14 Alphabetinos got into a big, tightly packed ball and charged forward. Only half of the ball hit Had. It stood its ground, and 7 of them slammed into the wall and pathetically died. They were Paj, Ez, Ne, Shez, Raz, Lauk, and Shmo. The 7 that were still alive for some reason got healed and grew twice their size. They fired slightly stronger beams that actually hurt Had. He ate a max mushroom and was healed. The beams that missed somehow all hit Ow and killed it. There were now 6. They arranged themselves into a circle-like thing and shot a connector thing to the one across from them and next to them, which made a snowflake-like pattern. The middle of it started glowing, and a really big laser was charging. It was flashing rainbow colors. It turned wit and blacked out. No, it turned wit and blasted out. Had fell asleep or something before this and was hit by it. It was pissed. It bitch-slapped them, and this took out Og, Spax, and Snez. The 3 that were left spun around and used a tri-beam. Had was somehow frozen, burned, and paralyzed all at once. It was given an able juice. The fire was back. It shot out the fire and took out Booze and Shte. Wait, Booze? Is there... I don't think there's one called Booze. Hold on. Let me look at these again. There's... We've got Joel, Haas, Podge, Svez, Snez, Kays, Ez, Ow, Lala, Ne, Snaze, Og, Bo, Shez, Egg, Shte, Raz, Blaz, Noke, Lauk, Spo, Patapat, Spax, Irg, Shmo. Yeah, there was not one called Booze. I don't know what that was all about. Anyway, this left only It glowed radioactive and grew about 10 times larger. However, it was too big to fit in the room, so it just died. They won. A Caro-Caro-Cola made them all healed, so they were ready to battle the last member. Nobody knew who it was. Chapter 15. Well, the room was dark, but there was white smoke covering the floor and bubbles floating through the air. There were also disco strobe lights and lava lamps and stuff everywhere. Then the smoke machine and bubble machine broke, and they heard the guy swear. The disco ball fell off and shattered, and many of the lights went out. Then a door off to the side opened, a guy came out and turned on the lights. Then he left. There was a little man in the corner in front of a mirror trying to get his cape on. When the lights came on, he froze, then quickly turned around and let the cape fall off, trying to make it look like this was supposed to happen. He had orange hair with electric blue highlights, but he also had apparently forgot to put pants on. He told them boldly his name was Firebolt Fred. He sent out a diamond object to start things off. They sent out Ian. Diamond object hovered up, turned on its side, and then began to spin very quickly. Then it flew right at Ian and cut his head off. After about 5 gallons of clear blood came out of his neck, he died. Keep in mind that he does come back. I'm curious to see if there's an explanation. But anyway, the scoreboard came down, and one of the 7 lights on their side went out. This was going to be a long battle. Great. I love reading battle scenes. The companions let Bargo go fight Diamond Object. It flew at him, but he ate it and sent it to another dimension from within him. This counted as beating him, so one of Firebolt Fred's 7 lights went out. Bargo had learned that trick on Mars, by the way. Next, Firebolt Fred cautiously sent out a Jordan. It threw a fit as Bargo approached it. Bargo almost fainted from the noise. Firebolt Fred just stood there with his arms crossed and earplugs in his ears. Jordan started fake crying and hitting Bargo in his tantrum. The whole thing made Bargo unable to block. But then Jordan passed out from yelling and stuff so much. Bargo tried some able juices, but they didn't really help other than with the pain. What else would they help with? Anyway, he had to wait until he could kind of hear some things. Then he bit Jordan. This just caused Jordan to wake up and get really mad. He started throwing things at Bargo, and then when he was tired, he vomited all over Bargo and in his mouth. Then he poked Bargo in the eyes as he tried to get the crap off him somehow. Bargo fell over in all this disgusting pain. Then as Jordan started to suck on him with that stupid mouth, Bargo thought screw it and swallowed the puke and sent it to the dimension with Diamond Object in it. Then he opened his eyes and flew at Jordan. It knocked Jordan over, but Jordan had run out of tantrums in tears. He was really weak too, so Bargo just jumped up and down on him until it knocked him out. Then Bargo drank some able juices, which helped a little. Then Jordan got up and boxed Bargo's ears and kicked him in his imaginary nuts. Then he headbutted Bargo, finishing him off. Another of the companions' lights went out. Firebolt Fred gave Jordan some able juices as I guess TCs as the companions picked their next fighter. They picked Yakronsky, who just went over and conked Jordan on the head. Jordan fell over, dead. Firebolt Fred's light went out, and next he sent out a Had. Okay. Alright, Yakronsky had a serious type disadvantage, so it went back and they sent out Schmugenhugen. It shot out a blast of water at Had's fire, most of it died down, and after another shot, it completely went away. Had suddenly made its head turn into a ball, and its body got thicker. For some reason, it was a circus dog on a ball. Let's stop there for a second. Had suddenly made its head turn into a ball, and its body got thicker. For some reason, it was a circus dog on a ball. Alright. They were very weak, so Schmugenhugen finished it off easily with some big bites. Another light went out on FF's side, but they both got another light added on. It was now, for some reason, an 8-on-8 battle. The companion side had the advantage so far. Firebolt Fred sent out an interesting animal. It started to fly around as soon as it came out and lashed its stupid tongue at Schmugenhugen. It was poisonous, but Schmugenhugen was not affected by it for some reason. Schmugenhugen withdrew into its shell and skidded around the floor, which made it hard for Interesting Animal to attack. Finally, it got out of its shell, and with the gained momentum, jumped really high and far, and landed on Interesting Animal's back. Schmugenhugen did some headbutts and sissy unches and stuff, then made it crash to the ground. It did a big bite, and took off one of Interesting Animal's wings. It then charged some I-beams and fired them off before you can say hokey ma pokey. EA didn't even have a chance to attack. It already bit the big one and fainted. Firebolt Fred lost his 4th light and proceeded to send out Bleu. It did a massive punch and knocked out Schmugenhugen immediately. Jakronsky decided to try again. Bleu shot his huge fist at Jakronsky, but Jakronsky just wing-whacked them back. The added power... Hold on, I'm getting this... Let me look at that again. Wing-whacked them back. The added power came back at Bleu, and both fists hit him in the head. It didn't really do anything, though. Unhappy face. Then Jakronsky did a drill-a-phone, which Bleu just punched away. Then he boxed Jakronsky's ears, and... What the hell does that even mean? He boxed Jakronsky's ears and smashed him on the head. Then he grabbed an ear in one hand and the beak in the other and pulled them apart until Jakronsky screeched. It made Bleu go deaf, but he didn't really need his hearing. He put his fists apart and then began to spin around faster and faster until he was a blur hovering in the air. This is so boring. He slowly went toward Jakronsky, and Juk was occupied with ribbing his beak, so he didn't notice. Bleu was spinning, so Jakronsky just kept getting hit until he was hit like 5 billion times and died. Another of the companions' why does it always say that? Another of the companions' lights went out. Schmogenhogen stepped forth, and for some reason giant buses started falling on Bleu until when they stopped, he was almost dead. He ate a half of a max mushroom, healing half of his life. So Schmogenhagen shot a dodecahedron eye beam at Bleu, defying usual space and firing out of all his eye sections. The giant glowing thing hit Bleu and simply took all but one life point away. Knowing he would die anyways, he pressed that little button on his head to use self-destruct. Luckily, the companions... I hate that abbreviation. Luckily, the companions realized this right before he did it and shoved a max mushroom into Schmogenhagen's mouth as he was losing life, which somehow made it so when Bleu finished exploding, Schmog had 3 life points left. As another of FF's lights went out, he sent out a Cloujo. God, that was an awful chapter. I hope... I'm really wanting these parts to be over with. Anyway, hey Heartless, I've been kind of looking at the chat, kind of not. I have to obviously do a lot of reading, so... Hopefully these boring parts will be over soon. I liked the manly party at the beginning. I hope I get more stuff like that. Alright. Schmogenhogen was very weakened by all this, so it decided to go back and rest. The had no more able juices or max mushrooms, and only one Caro Cola. Since everyone, randomly capitalized, else was fine, they decided to wait and use their last Caro Cola when someone else was very hurt. By the way, pick-me-ups were forbidden in this battle. I'm glad that was just stated earlier then. Captain Pringle decided to give it a shot. It started firing sour cream and onion Pringles and little name tags for Captain Ed Pringle at Cloujo, and while most of them missed, it still did a little damage. Cloujo fired random lightning bolts all over, and while they tore up the field, they all missed CP. CP just remembered something really obvious. He was the webmaster. Durr. He used his powers of having access to all things UBCS by throwing the letters UBCS on Cloujo, then moved it to another forum, the Boiling Lava Forum. This move can only be used once without being healed at a hospital. Anyway, Cloujo died easily. FF wasn't done yet, he still had 2 SCs to go. He sent out a Wimple. This was no ordinary Wimple, it was the Extreme Wimple from comic number 10. I'm going to stop right there for a second here. I used to make these, really weird sprite comics that had nothing to do with anything. They were kind of a mix of Pokemon and strange creature stuff. I still don't have any of them anymore. That didn't make any... Yeah, I don't have any of them anymore. I don't think they are archived anywhere either, but yeah. Also, I didn't realize the Minecraft server was still up. I haven't been on it in a long time. It could be. I should probably check that out. Anyway. Pretty much it was a super powerful Wimple with big wings. It flew around and made a big wind thing. It sucked CP up and threw him into the wall, which broke his giant teeth. He was very hurt, so he made Junspinar fight. It chucked some Bosberry bombs and made Wimple grounded. It could still scurry around, though. It did a big body slam on Junspinar, who countered with a quick spin. Wimple spun around really fast and slammed into a wall, in the exact same place CP did before, which made a really big dent in the wall. Junspinnar did some more stuff and was then thrown in the same place, which pretty much ruined the wall beyond all repair. It went back and Had went to fight it. A few neck flame torches later, Had ran out of fire and had to do crappy karate moves. However, Wimple took such a beating before it actually died. They used a Kero Cola to heal the still-alive SCs and prepared for Firebolt Fred's last SC. They were pretty sure they could take it down. After all, it was 4-1. FF then morphed into a ball. It was a Bikdip? No, it was a Spherio, the final evolution of Bikdip. It was also at level 11 billion, so this was going to be very hard. Strange, but cool. Okay. Chapter 19. Since Firebolt Fred, Spherio, couldn't talk, they decided that he couldn't object if they all fought together, so the four slightly hurt SCs entered the battlefield. Spherio shot a three-dimensional tri-beam at Schmogenhogen. Schmog countered it with a dodecahedron beam. The three-dimensional tri-beam had one more dimension than the DB, so one dimension went through and hit Schmog, disabling his eyes and all future eye beams. Then CP shot all his sharp teeth, they were sharp because they had broken, happy face, at Spherio. Spherio just ate them. Then CP got really angry and flew at Spherio. Then Spherio ate him too. He went all bumpy in rainbow colors, then passed through time to 1/1000th of a second later, and then was exactly the same, save that his color was now slightly bluish. They looked at the scoreboard, and half a light went out on the companion side, and half a light was added to Spherio's. Then they noticed Spherio also had a happy aura about him. Then poor Schmogenhogen, looking around at nothing, got eaten by something. It turned out to be Spherio traveling at the speed of light. Schmogenhogen was unfortunately sent to another dimension, never to be seen again. Really? Okay. Another of the companions' light went out. Had formulated a plan with Junspinnar this whole time. He turned off his fire, bent down, and Junspinnar put his tail into Had's neck and sat on his shoulders. On the scoreboard, the last two lights combined into one. The Hadspinnar began to spin on the evil head that it was standing on. Then it flew into the air, and as Captain Spherio sent Schmog away, they drilled into him. He was caught by surprise and lost another fourth of his life points. Then there was a bright blue flash of light, and the two halves of CP were gone from the scoreboard. Just plain Spherio returned, and he didn't have the added power this time. Hadspinnar launched some Hadberry bombs from its two mouths, then with 4 arms and 2 legs, it attempted some kung fu moves. Spherio screamed, and for some reason this made Hadspinnar lose the will to fight. But then all the Hadberry bombs hit Spherio, and he was taken down some more. Then he fired a special move not known to regular Spherios. He had developed the move in all the freaking free time he had while trainers lost to other E5 members. It was his own special 4-dimensional body beam. His whole body lit up, and Hadspinnar, frightened, tried to get away. But the 4-dimensional body beam was too powerful. It warped all the dimensions, an extremely dangerous move in itself. The whole scene went blank. Oh man, this is a long one. Wait, Wimples are in Mario and Luigi? Huh, I never knew that. Anyway, they appeared in a forest clearing 10 years later, with Spherio at 1/3 life and Hadspinnar with a life point left, although he wasn't Hadspinnar anymore. The warp had turned him back into Had and Junspinnar. A glitch had given them a life point each. They picked themselves off the ground and turned to Spherio. He was happily napping under a tree. They looked at each other and nodded. They powered up their best moves and waited. When they each had one turn to go, Spherio awoke and stretched. For a second he didn't seem to know where he was, then a look of understanding came over him. He shot a tri-beam at Junspinnar as instinct, but too late. Junspinnar had already fired. The two beams met and connected in a weird way. As some robotic animals walked by, the two SCs began to sweat. There was a large spherical shape in the center of the beam, the color of the two beams mixed together. The ball would move towards one SC or another, but never touching one of them. It finally got so big that it exploded, and unluckily at the time it was on Junspinar's side of the beam. It wiped him out, and out of nowhere the scoreboard reappeared and one of their lights went out. Had rushed over to the very weakened and almost finished Spherio. He fired his two best moves at the same time, able to do so because of his neck and his head. It took Spherio down to 1 life point, so Had bit him, and something happened. They appeared back in the final chamber of the Elite Five. The scoreboard came down and Spherio's light went out. A body came out of him, and he morphed back into Firebolt Fred, and Firebolt Fred approached Had. A very well played battle, very well indeed. You have beaten me, and that's saying something. You definitely deserve this. Firebolt Fred had a little medal comprised of 5 different rings, and all mounted on a crest medallion. And I'll give you this, too, Fred added. He handed Had a 3D lemonade. Had thanked him and went through the double doors behind Firebolt Fred that bore the Elite Five's crest. The companions were magically healed and followed him back into the world. Maybe that means no more battling for a while. Alright. I think we're actually halfway done already. Apparently there's only 2 pages for this. Dude, we need a good entrance, evil. P.S. Jish, hurry up and post. Chapter 20. After they beat the Elite Five, all 7 of the companions, Schmogenhogen didn't come back. Alright, hold on. There's 7. Bargo had Yakronsky, Jen Spinar, Captain Pringle, Ian. What the fuck? Whatever. Okay. All 7 of the companions, Schmogenhogen didn't come back, were all happy and junk. They had a party-type thing over at some random empty house that they found. CP made a big banner thing that said, vote for Dan Freebird, but on the back it said, if we beat the E5, chances are you can't because you suck, D. Bargo drank about 25 bottles of Mike's Hard Lemonade and was so drunk he ate the banner and passed out because it was lodged in his throat. The companions searched his pockets for something that might help, but all they found was a stone and the 3D lemonade. Finally, they decided to just use the squeeze really hard lick maneuver to get it out. They did, and then he was revived immediately. He saw the 3D lemonade, and thinking it was another Mike's Hard Lemonade, he drank it and suddenly got extremely skinny. Then he turned blue and lost his face, then fell over. A cone formed up from this, and it got a new one-eyed frowning face. The banner that said, vote for Dan Freebird, then changed and said, Bargo evolved into Conor. Now, even though he was a different SC, his name is still Bargo, mind you. Also, Schmugenhugen ate the stone. Right there. Didn't come back. Unless he split. I don't even know. Whatever. Schmugenhugen ate the stone and suddenly evolved into the legendary Schmogenhogen. Or... I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm going to keep saying Schmogenhogen. I think it's like with an ow or something. There were only 2 stones in the whole world, and since the frog person in the Elite Five had one, that was obviously the last one left. This was truly a brown day. Burst out in laughter. That wasn't funny. Alright, gotta take another break here to update the picture, so bear with me. Yeah, if anybody can actually figure out what's going on in this story, I freaking commend you. Like, I wrote the damn thing and I don't even know what's going on. Okay, so whether or not this is actually correct, I'm going to refer to him as Schmaugenhaugen, because that at least is, like, different from the other ones that are pronounced. The other ones that are pronounced, that made sense. Once again, fully necessary, but anyway. So yeah, very brown day or some shit like that. Is there a... Yeah, there is a Schmigenhagen. Let me actually, since I took a break anyway, I'm going to go through here and actually go through the full list of strange creatures and pronounce them, because a lot of them may not be immediately obvious. So we've got Schmigenhagen, Schmagenhagen, Schmagenhagen, Schmiegenhagen, Schmagenhagen, Schmogenhogen, Schmagenhagen, Schmugenhugen, Schmugenhagen, Schmagenhagen, Schmugenhugen, Schmaugenhaugen, Schmahagenhahagen, Sugenhaas, and Schmagenhagen das. Then there is John Boo, Jen Barang, John Spinar, Eaterbo, Elementino, Atmobob, Yucko, Snorky, Yukronsky, Rockerstein, Bergersonfield, Zyder, Blyfergie, Kosink, Joe Frankio, Lunkarat, Graz, Kez, Stek, Arbo, Stygo, Had, Lump of Cheese, Block of Cheese, Ziggerdo, Bargo, Garbo, Bikdip, Conor, Cubon, Spherio, Rock, Stick, Wimple, Seed Thing, Small Woodland Creature, Kuba, Kumbaru, Kobleron, Circus Dog on a Ball, Gart, Pokemaster Ian, Blap, Budari, Glop, Kib, Kirby, Kibbo, Kobandu, Random Elf, Travis the Infected Lawn Gnome, Boingloing, Fubi, Zeke H-Bomb, Munker, Scorpon, Birdag, Schnauzio. The Elementinos, which I will read again, are Joel, Haas, Podge, Svez, Snez, Kays, Ez, Au, Lala, Ne, Snez, Ogbo, Shez, Egg, Shte, Raz, Blaz, Noke, Lauk, Spo, Patapat, Spax, Irg, Schmo. Then we have Pyrofoncula, Fabunculation, Estimature, Lanjo, Panahas, Bus, Jonah, Jordan, Implosion, Explosion, Black Hole, Cosno, Technoli, Hootie, Spoke, Bleh, Weeklo, Craplo, Doofpo, Ace, Denza, Captain Pringle, Schmeh, Schmeh, Schmick, and Schmihik, Schmeh. Virus Thing, Random Plant, Interesting Animal, Nothing, Something, Everything, Mr. Gay and Crotch, Mr. Game and Watch, Mr. Hicktaw and Imag, Repumph, Yaknam Rebage, Sin Fek Fek, Square Object, Diamond Object, Clyde, Cloujo, Mohabed, Jippermonkey, Scrumpi, Ultimax, just random Homestar characters for no reason, Philip, Maynard, Gary Apple, Dopley, Bokro, Glitchamon, Impil, Ooka, Jorgo, Pointy, El Senor, Eagle, Flurgan, Plurby, Uber, Lickabob, Floop, and Walter Cronkite. I don't even fricking know. Some of these are pretty great, though. Anyway, back to the story, I suppose. Alright. What were we going with again? Schmau? I think, yeah, Schmaugenhaugen had to carry Bargo on his back for a while. As the companions were walking along, they spotted a Spherio. They yelled up to look, but he couldn't hear them and turned to look down. This made Bargo fall off of him and right into the Spherio. He stabbed into it and killed it. Then he glowed a bright white and turned into a Cubon. Then he said sorry to his grandpa and joined the companions, somehow. Then saw a moderately sized city as they passed by, but in the town square, in the center, there was a huge crowd of people around something. They went over there and saw they were erecting a monument. On closer inspection, and as the noise died down for the speaker, the companions could see who this monument was for. The statue was of, it was Black Hole and his son, the Implosion, who met so long ago. The speaker was currently talking about how important they were, and how if they hadn't done what they did, we might all be dead right now. The universal unbalance and rebalance they caused were what set the universe straight and back to normal. Go Black Hole and Implosion. But the companions were bored. They went around the town, looking at some of the other interesting things. They included the world-renowned Bus Restaurante, and more importantly, the first of the Mango League gyms. They looked inside through a window and saw a small woodland creature disintegrated by a bright white light. They would have to train for this one. So it looks like we're getting into more battles. Fun times. This chapter will be written in calculator language. Good luck understanding it. Chapter 22. Bargo and his... Oh, it's translated. Okay. Some of these are, like, really fucked up. They, like, didn't come out the way they're supposed to be. Anyway, Bargo and his friends decided to train in the woods. They soon found a few grazes and they killed them all. I'm sick of calculator language now. Anyway, they found mainly really weak things in the forest that did not help them at all. Instead, they went to a gym. An exercising, spelled wrong, gym, not a Mango League gym. They stayed there for a few hours and used various equipment, but I like how that spelling is different every time. It always shows some kind of garbage characters. But Schmaugenhaugen broke a treadmill and they all got kicked out. Cold, warm, hungry, full, alone, and surrounded by friends, they sauntered into the streets and got hit by a car, but the car is the one that got hurt the mostest, stupid grin. The car exploded and they went flying away into a big box. The box sucked into itself, and since they imploded, Bargo evolved into a Spherio. That was quick. They all got a rainbow full of experience points and got about 1 bone stronger. They then felt they could take on the gym leader. Okay, Chapter 2, £. But then they fell into a magical bucket of burp and did a Russian dance. They appeared inside a glass box with wheels. They were rolling down a giant road, and all the buildings were tiny, metallic, shiny shacks. The road was rainbow colors, and they saw right before it happened that the road ended a few feet away. They fell off the giant cliff, and as they were screaming and falling down, the box just faded away, and they were instead falling through darkness. They landed on the cold, hard, soft ground and bounced. Then a light turned on. They were in a little room laying on the floor. Then somehow it was the ceiling instead, and they fell to the floor. Then the room tilted, and they all rolled out of a sideways door and into a bucket of styrofoam peanuts. Then they were dumped out of it and onto a conveyor belt, which was about a foot long. They fell off the end upwards into a hole in the ceiling, which actually turned out to be a wall. They all fell onto a bed, unconscious. Then they all woke up in their beds, wondering if they drank too much. Oh man, that was a good one. Okay. Chapter 24. After that strange experience, they were all funked out and sort of hibernated. They all awoke about 3 months later when they realized that they were all starving to death. They went to the closest Quickie Mart and pretty much ate all the food in the entire store. However, none of them had any money at all. The police came rushing down to the store and grabbed them, handcuffed the ones that had hands, and tranquilized the others. They were all thrown into a prison cell at the local Mango jail. Let's see. The door was locked, windows barred, security cameras watching their every move, fire alarm. Wait a second, what the heck was that doing there? Ian pulled it, and the floor opened up, which tossed them all through a tunnel thing. It buried through the whole town, and then a ladder led back up somewhere. They climbed it and found themselves in what looked like a preschool. There were SCs everywhere, climbing things, eating feces, and driving each other insane. A really, really big baby walked up to them. Al said, "Hello there, my name is Billa. I'm the gym leader here." Then they saw a display in front of the window with a fake small wooden creature getting blasted with a laser and dying. I don't know why, but I find that hilarious. It's like, we're building up to the thing getting blasted by the laser. They go on whatever the fuck kind of adventure this was. They come in and just find out that it's a preschool, and there's just a display of that happening. Like, what the fuck? Alright. They went up and kicked Billa and stole his badge. Then they ran far away, and they had to go really far because a huge crowd of babies was chasing them. They finally collapsed into a large and Rami building full of plants. "Oh, a new challenger. Haven't seen one of those in a while." Then he shrieked, "Go, random plant!" and threw one out. Most of the companions were tired, all except for Schmaugenhaugen at the moment, so he decided to battle. Bargo looked at the sign on the door, and it said, "The Plant Planet Gym. If you're here, you probably shouldn't be." It in fact wasn't a real gym, but a gym nonetheless. The battle commenced. They already had the badge, so this... Oh yeah, they stole it. Okay, I was about to say, what the hell? Okay, so I guess they just stole the badge from there. Anyway, they already had the badge, so this battle was somewhat pointless. Anyway, Schmaugenhagen walked up to the random plant and touched it lightly. It died. The thing that sent out about 2,000 more, all of which Schmaugenhagen killed easily. Somehow it linked itself up to the other SCs so they would get the experience from beating them, which made them all grow a couple levels. Finally, after all the SCs were recovered, the thing revealed itself to be a thing. It was rainbow-colored and breathed plasma. It lightly touched Schmaugenhagen and killed it. One by one, the other SCs came up to battle it, and none of them really got any damage in. The radioactive thing killed them all. In a few hours, when they awoke, they weren't in the gym. They were in an extremely dark, evil-looking place. The sky was dark green and smoky. Bats, 2-foot-long bugs, and ghosts were flying around. A broken sign was above them that creaked with every breeze. It said, "Welcome to the City of the Dead. Population, a big fat 0. They walked around for a bit, and some motion sensor machine guns on top of the moldy building shot at them. Hiding in the nearest building, they found some dead bodies strewn about, along with giant bugs, rats, and pools of blood. This place, in short, really, really sucked. Chapter 27. They were all looking in a house when a giant hole appeared there, somehow, and they fell in it. They flew through an underground tube for about 5 years until they finally flew out of the ground and into the air somewhere. The hole disappeared from under them, and they all fell on the hard ground. It hurt a lot. Then they got up, ate dinner, and danced. Then they found the Mango League gym again and entered. A big Beffy guy with one of those stupid artist hat things on was standing there proudly. Other than that, he wasn't really doing much else. He threw an SC cube, and it was well, whatever it was, it had a sheet over it. The big guy said he wanted his opponent to be surprised. Right. They let Bargo go fight him. He went and took the sheet off, or tried to, before the thing bit him and he recoiled. It was glowing. Bargo used some triple eye beams on the thing, and the sheet ripped off. It was a strong bad. A new SC. It is a complete copy of the character of the same name from HomestarRunner.com. It used its big ol' boxing gloves to attack Bargo in the 4th dimension, which made the whole gym disappear for no reason at all. They both fell in a pit, and Strongbad complained and said holy crap the whole time. When they reached the bottom, Bargo used Feore's wind somehow to teleport to the top. The gym came back somehow, and Strongbad never came back up. The big guy, whose name was Ben Dover, cried and sent out the next SC, Weaklow, which died immediately. Then he only had one SC left. He sent it out, and it was a Shmehikishmeh. Bargo left to go to a name changer and get his name changed to Bagel. He came back, and with his new name, was ready to fight. Alright, Shmehikishmeh started rolling over in midair for no reason. Then Bagel just smiled at it really big, and it froze. Then he started headbutting it until he beat the stupid lump out of its side. Then it unfroze and flew into the air. Probably the first Shmehikishmeh to enjoy the joys of flying correctly. It flew around for a while until it ran out of whatever it regularly inhales and crashed to the ground. Then Ben Dover took out an inhaler, took the little cartridge out of it, and filled it with this bluish-green goo crap. Then he put it back and used it on What, you just get too lazy to spell it out? Anyway, it sprang back into the air, ready to fight. Bagel used extremely evil stare as it was swooping down on him. It left consciousness, and the momentum carried him to still hit Bagel. For some reason, this was really powerful and killed Bagel. Pokemaster Ian went forward and farted on Shmehikishmeh, knocking him out. Then he withdrew and had kicked it, and it died. Ben Dover bent over and took a badge out of his pants. Bagel took it in a bag because he was scared. They had their second Mango League gym badge, makes the peace sign. Okay, I think this is my favorite part, if this is the part I'm thinking of. Alright, Chapter 30. They all did a jig in celebration of their new badge. Then they walked for a little while in the new town they were in. It was really weird. There were giant buildings everywhere. One of them was impossibly fucking long number stories tall, so they decided to go there. Inside was a map of the whole place. It described absolutely nothing, but revealed the fact that 99% of the building was brick, and the remaining 1% was actually the part you can go in. There was no freaking elevator. The sign said, "Please poke my eye," so Ian did, and then the door behind them closed and was immediately locked by 16 different kinds of locks, blocked by wood, covered with spikes, and had a piece of tape on it. Apparently they were going to have to climb it. The first, take that number and subtract 100, floors were blank, so they just got past them. Then there was a sign that said the next 100 floors would have assorted trials they had to get past. Then they slept. They had to go up every single floor in one day, and in the morning they would continue. I think after I'm finished reading this, I'm going to see what's going on with the server, because I haven't even thought about that thing in a long time. Anyway. First, there was a box. It wasn't a very interesting box. It was just a box. So they touched it, and the door opened. On the next level, there was this little thing that spoke to them, saying, "Kuala mama umph gula," and then it turned into a fish. Bargo caught the fish in a battle that was just laying around. Then the door opened. On the next level, there was a room that was approximately, impossibly fucking long number, miles long. In front of them was a stick, a hook shot, and a stupid horse. They would have to take the expressway. Bargo got on the stupid horse, shot the hook shot at the stick and killed it, then got off the horse and floated into the air. Then everyone else hung on to him, and he stretched the chain out all the length of the room in -2 seconds. Then Bargo let go of the hook shot, it flew all the way back and killed the horse. They then stepped on a button and the door opened. Then there was another room. This one was fairly large, and the middle was separated by a glass wall. They ran up to it, and it was impenetrable, but there was a little piece of carpet in the corner of their side with a little flute lying next to it. Hold on, I lost my place. Okay. Luckily, Bargo knew how to play the flute somehow. He started playing, and nothing happened. Then Junspinnar spotted an extremely tiny inscription on the wall. It had about 5 notes, and so everyone piled onto the piece of carpet, and Bargo played the notes. Still nothing happened. So Bargo took out the fish. It fell out of its bottle, so he picked it back up, and then for some reason he did a backflip, and in the middle of it he grabbed the carpet and the bottle. When he landed, he somehow had the piece of carpet in his mouth, and he could play notes on it. So he played the notes, and they all found themselves on another piece of carpet on the other side of the room. The doors opened, and they stepped through. They came out onto a little rickety bridge over a huge valley that had white fog in it. A little gremlin dude was standing there, and he was like, "You must answer me these questions 3. CP stepped up, and the guy was like, "What is your name?" CP. "What is your quest?" I want to get to the top of this stupid building." "What is your favorite color?" "Yellow." "Okay, go on." That was extremely easy. CP went past, and all the other people had to answer the same questions until Bargo was last. "What is your name?" "Bargo." "What is your quest?" "To get to the top of this building." "What is the capital of Croatia?" "Mozambique." The gremlin dude died, and Bargo joined the others. They continued to the top. Chapter 32. The companions went through a few more obstacles. They were very boring. In the room 50 floors from the top, there was a TV screen that showed some crap. It showed a giant gorilla coming in the front door and traveling very fast started climbing the floors. There was also a curtain by a window that was not there before, and a mysterious orb which Junspinnar picked up. A stranger with an elephant gun also broke in and was going at the same speed as the gorilla. Instead of doing something, all of them just sort of stood there, and after a while they got sucked through the floor and were falling down a silver tunnel. They landed in a beige room. On the floor was a keyboard, as in a musical one, not a typing keyboard, with a cord sticking out. They had no use for this at all. Pichu realized something. It didn't belong here. Either way, the stupid electric mouse noted a very slight color change in one of the walls. It zapped all the companions through it, and they were now stuck in a metal room. The keyboard was in here too. Pichu somehow cloned itself to be in this room and the other at the same time. Yakronsky tried to go through the wall and was unsuccessful, but it had a good idea. It shoved the stupid cord from the keyboard up Pichu's butt and made the keyboard powered up. Charmander, who also didn't belong here, played the Song of Storms on it and made it rain. The rain killed it, and the rain also shorted out the stupid keyboard and made Pichu evolve into a Pikachu. It blasted a wall, and since the room was metal, everyone was shocked by it. However, the wall they passed through blew up. Both the Pichu and the Pikachu shocked each other and died. Then a funky tune played and some stairs appeared. They ran toward them, and as soon as they went in, the room behind them closed. Some words came out of nowhere and said, "You have been stuck in the time warp of Happy. You will die." The time machine was blasting off toward the moon, and they only had 1 minute to find Waldo. Luckily, he was standing right there, so the stupid time machine/rocket thing teleported back to the beige room. By now, the gorilla and the dude with the elephant gun were there. Mewtwo, what is up with these Pokemon cameos, killed them both. As this happened, all the companions were trapped in a giant pink rupee and floated back up to the previous floor. They stepped out of the stupid curtain, which shriveled up and combusted immediately. Coming out of the ashes of the curtain was Mewtwo. It killed them all, but they each had a Sorcerer's Stone, so they couldn't die. Then they all went Super Saiyan and killed Mewtwo. However, it reincarnated itself into Ian's body. Some spirit away shot out of the window, and it made Mewtwo disappear forever. The window then shattered, and the wall closed up into itself. A small bird puppet named Henry G. Emeryette III came out, and it would prove to be very useful in the future. Yeah, I think that section right there was probably my favorite in the entire story. Just climbing the building, the random Ocarina of Time glitches, and then just this part, which was actually based on a dream that I had. Oh, those were good times. Alright. Chapter 32, the last and final chapter. It was about level 80 that they noticed the stairs. They took them to the 99th floor, where there was a huge pile of garbage filling the entire room. Pokemaster Ian said, "Don't be fooled. Friends, do not try the feast. It is a trap." Everyone looked at him, and he backed into the corner. Then they all made him eat all the shit until only a little mouse was left. It bit Bargo and gave him rabies and made him faint. Had stepped on it, or tried to, before he was flung across the room and smashed against the wall. Pokemaster Ian was still hungry somehow and saw the mouse, so he ate it and swallowed. Then he glowed a bright black and fainted too. Had recovered, but they were down 2 others. Then the floor began to shake. A little crack appeared, and then it grew until it was a giant rift that separated the companions. Junspinar fell in, but Had caught him. Had looked down into the fiery oblivion and saw something rising. It was rising really fast, too. Soon, something freaking humongous roared out of the hole, making Junspinar and Had go flying. It was a huge slimy serpent thingy with rows upon rows of massive fangs. It swallowed up the unconscious Bargo. Had grew unusually angry, and his fire was so huge it almost filled the entire room. He focused it on the serpent, and it writhed in pain. Then it went bleh and convulsed and crap until its outer skin thingy came off, and a smaller one was there instead. Had's fire gone, he was weakened greatly. The serpent came really freaking fast toward him and smashed him to jelly, which he spread on the piece of toast he made of Pokemaster Ian. He ate it all, then the rest of the companions all climbed on him, which made him enraged, and he flailed all over the place, his fiery eyes growing redder. Some random companions flew to the walls, but they got back on him and wailed on him until he made an anguished noise and fell defiantly to the ground. All the companions left cheered, but then the thing's head came back, and the MIB came from nowhere. They had enormous guns and blasted the thing when its face was an inch from Yakronsky's face. Crap got all over everyone, and Bargo, Had, and Pokemaster Ian came flying out too, somehow now conscious and okay. Hold on, where was that? Okay. The rift closed back up, and a door outlined itself and then appeared on a wall. They then went through it and came to the final floor. There was just a stupid standing there doing nothing. They went up to it, and it still did nothing. They fed it a piece of cheese, and it came to life. It started spinning around, making random noises, and then it asked if it could join them. They decided this was okay. So then said, "Then you are quite worthy of this heirloom that has been passed down from generation to generation, all the way down to me. You are the first group ever to reach here. Congratulations." And he handed them a mysterious orb that was always changing colors. Bagel pocketed. I like how his name changed back. Bagel pocketed it. It happily joined them, and they all took the elevator down to the ground. They continued their interesting journey. The final chapter continued. The Kamapnians left the building and were walking along a path, making small talk. They asked what the mysterious orb did, but he didn't know. All he knew was that its mystery was only exceeded by its power. So Bagel, or Bargo, pulled out the thing and held it up. Nothing happened. He said all the magic words he knew, including open sesame, but none worked. Then a little thing came out of the bushes. Had said, "What is your name? I have to fart." And the orb started glowing a blinding clear. They were all sucked into it, and it grew in size and spun around really fast. Everything around it blurred, and all went black for the companions. They awoke in what was actually the same exact spot, only it was very far into the future. Very. They looked into the sky. It was a bland magenta, black, ugly, gray, clouded color, and it was moving very fast somehow. Flaming meteors and comets were raining down upon the earth, and most everything was dark. There were ruins everywhere, and people screaming and running all about. Mechanical parts and other junk was laying everywhere. Bargo ran to a nearby time counter thingy lying on the ground. It said, "Judgment Day. No other information. 00000 cent sign D upside down N thing fancy looking G S P 00000." They paused. Then Bargo let it fall to the ground. Then a shriek was uttered from Pokemaster Ian as he was struck in the back of the head by a flaming meteor. He fell to the ground, blood pouring from his hair. The meteor knocked out a tooth, though, and it happened to fly and hit He looked surprised for a second, then began to glow white. His shape grew much bigger and changed shape. When the smoke cleared, there stood a proud Ultimax. Its pure white and cruel eyes looked down upon the companions. It crouched down and put a wing to the ground for them to all get on. Had carried Pokemaster Ian with him and laid him down. There was room for everyone to fit on Ultimax's back. Then he spread his titanic wings and began to flap. But with only a couple strides and a few flaps of his wings, he was airborne and flying high. Somehow, all the flying debris and other things went right around him. He flew to the menacing but crumbling castle of the Supreme Wimple, ruler of all that lives upon this miserable planet. Ultimax flew in through an open window. He then flew over the balcony and landed with a boom on the smooth tile of the main hall. The tile cracked under his feet. The Supreme Wimple sat atop his mighty throne, looking upon everything as if disgusted, but still maintaining an aura of importance. The 20 or so guards came to attention. "You dare enter the castle of the almighty ruler of all, the Supreme Wimple?" came his booming voice. Ultimax grunted and lowered his wings. The companions slowly stepped down from their positions and onto the floor. They had even given Pokemaster Ian some medicine to help him and heal him. "You dare oppose me?" came the sound of the Supreme Wimple. "Attack!" The guards whipped out weapons of the sort never imagined before, and ran toward the companions. They all started getting migraines, all except for Ultimax. He breathed on some guards, and a couple fell dead. The others knocked down for a while. All the guards had hollow eyes, and they were all black as night. ... They were all under the spell of the Supreme Wimple. Bargo whipped out some candy and gave it to his friends. They all grew to twice their size. The two sides met in the grand chamber. Bargo roared with fury as he fought off guard after guard, usually eating his victim eventually. He rolled around, crushing SC Imperial guards as he went. It appeared the guards from all corners of the castle had been called. Had burnt guards by the tens. God, this is awful. He smashed them to bits as their weapons tried to match his strength. Junspinar drilled through ranks upon ranks of Imperials and used whatever methods he could think of. Yakronsky flew over the crowd, anger filling his mind. He impaled guards upon beak and talon, devoured Imperials with a sick pleasure. Captain Pringle spread his happiness on everyone, strengthening his team and weakening the opponent. He also happily tore them to shreds. Pokemaster Ian scared and even killed hordes of guards with his ultimate gayness. His hair even overcame many guards. But Ultimax wasn't aimed for the guards, of course. The area in about a 5-yard radius was basically death to guards, but he needed protection. He reached the Supreme Wimple, who seemed dismayed. "You're losing," said Ultimax. "I don't care," replied the Supreme Wimple. "It's not my loss. I win no matter what." "So you never changed, did you?" "Guess not, old comrade." "Funny how times change." "True, so very, very true." I have no idea who was saying what there, by the way. He rose from his almighty throne just by pure thinking about it. The eternal lockdown began. The whole area around the two was destroyed. When the Supreme Wimple was sure to win, an unlucky thing happened. The companions had demolished every last one of his guards so they could help their good old friend Ultimax. With their combined forces, they sent the Supreme Wimple back to the eternal oblivion from whence he came and sealed him there forever. In their walk through the town before the end of the earth, the companions noticed something. They hauled it back upright and dusted it off. It said that it was a commemorative statue made in honor of the companions, the heroes of all time. Yeah, I have no clue what the hell happened either. Well, that was the end. Great ending to a story there. It just kind of came out of nowhere, much like everything else. There is still one more story. I'm not going to be reading it today, though. Yeah. I don't really know what to say about any of this. Like, really, what is there to say about... But, like, paragraphs. Why did neither of us ever use paragraphs? I don't know. Anyway, I think that's probably enough for now. I don't think we really planned on streaming anything else. I'm going to take a break from talking for a little while. And if I'm going to do anything else, I will let it be known on Twitter. Otherwise, I think that's about it. So, yeah. I'm just going to look at this website for a little bit here. This thing is, like, so freaking abandoned. It's amazing. Okay. I like how these are all being posted by, like, some kind of spam bot. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't think they're going to bring it back. Just a guess. I don't even remember any of these people. Anyway, like I said, I think we're done. So, I will see you sometime. Bye.